Welcome to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship, where we keep it real about what it takes to build, grow, and thrive. Here, you'll hear the unfiltered journeys of women entrepreneurs from everywhere. The wins, the setbacks, the lessons, and the behind the scene truths of aligning, starting, and scaling our businesses with purpose. Because let's be real, this road ain't always pretty. From battling self doubt to juggling responsibilities and facing the pressures to have it all figured out, this hustle can be pretty heavy. That's why this space exists to fuel you with the motivation, drop strategic gems on the topics that matter most, and remind you you are not in this alone. This is the Woman's Hustle. Welcome back to the Woman's Hustle, Thrills and Spills of Entrepreneurship. It's your girl, Coach K. Y'all know I'm back with another enjoyable session. Listen, y'all, we talk about entrepreneurship. We talk about these things all day, every day. But I also want to make sure that we are talking about balancing ourselves, making sure we are taking care of our well-being. And that involves a lot of personal reflections and also responsibilities that we need to adhere to as well. So, with that being said, I have a lovely guest here that's going to help us dive into that so good, and I cannot wait. And I'm going to allow her the honor of introducing herself. Hey.
Hey. So I am Nnemoma. I'm founder of Essence of Freedom. And so we are all about helping people to breathe more easily and live more freely. So I provide life coaching services for women in particular and really supporting them in looking at the areas of their life where they are not aligned, they're moving in a misaligned way, and figuring out, okay, how can I live more freely and how can I actually create this life of my dreams in a way that is actionable and tangible, and understanding that we are the ones who are in the driver's seat. We don't need to keep waiting around for everything to be happening around us, but how do I shift my perspective? How do I breathe and regulate myself so I'm able to handle expansion when it comes in? And how do I take those tiny micro action steps? Doesn't have to be huge steps, but consistent tiny steps to get to that life that you deserve. You've seen it, so you know it's real. So I love doing this work with people.
I love it. And I'm super excited because we talk about the spreadsheets, we talk about, strategies and all that good stuff. But these are things that are just as important when it comes to this journey, especially if you're a solopreneur, especially if you're like in the startup phases, whatever phases that you're in, these things are so important to make sure that we are instilling into our everyday lives. So I'm super excited for you to dive in more about it. But towards the end of the episode, guys, we got a special surprise for you. So make sure that you stay tuned in. All right. Now, I want to know what got you started in this field and a little bit about your backstory that prompted you. Because what I've realized when we step into entrepreneurship, it is definitely based off of personal experience. So please share a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was definitely a personal experience for sure. I've been kind of dabbling with, coaching, always been very natural in terms of guiding people. Dabbled a little bit with breathwork, watching some YouTube videos and things like that. But I was in a tech job that was highly misaligned for me. They were racist. It was not a place that was good for me at all, but I had chased it because they were paying the coins, So I was chasing the bag, right? But sometimes you need to go in that direction to understand this is not right. But while I was there,
Thanks.
I was simultaneously being trained in breathwork at the time as a breathwork facilitator, and that was actually really helping me to keep my nervous system regulated. And it's like, wow, I feel like my people need to re-access this, not even just access it, right? Because our ancestors have been practicing these type of practices for so long, but really wanted to help people to reconnect to themselves in this way. So I was making my exit plan to leave the company. God had other plans and was like, yeah, they're actually going to fire you. They're going to let you go.
You talking about my life? Is you talking about me? Girl, go ahead. Sorry.
Listen, I feel like so many of us have this story though, right? Because I was planning with my own mind, thinking this is how things are supposed to go. And then God said, yep, layoffs are coming 3 months earlier than when you were initially deciding to leave. So it's time to go. And I didn't want to jump back into another 9 to 5 and do the whole thing. And And I've had opportunities at other points to launch, to move, to start something, and I didn't take those windows. So I knew that this was a window that I felt that if I had missed this window this time, it might be a while before that next window came. And so I said, I'm jumping in. I'm going all in on my business. Let me figure out the name, create this LLC, figure out the mark. So many things that I had to learn at the time, but it was necessary though. Like I feel that my life is so much better now as a result of it because I actually took that leap for myself.
Yeah, I get man, listen, that was my story, like, being let go, and it was like I was already on a personal shift, so it's like, okay, is this the alignment that you're putting me on right now? And it's fearful, right? Because we don't wanna downplay the fact that we probably was scared out of our mind as far as what was next, you know what I'm saying? So, I never wanna take away from that because I know for me, it was like, "Oh my god," but I had to go ahead and trust that process,
Yeah.
and I love that because I stand here before you today. So, and same with you. So, I love for you to share more about how you like incorporate that. As women, we carry a lot of titles. We are moms, we're wives, we're daughters, we're coworkers. I heard you say earlier that you always had that like unofficial coaching. I can definitely relate to that as well. How is it that we can kind of incorporate that into like our day to day, and when should we start like putting these things into play?
That's a great question. And I've been kind of playing with this a bit recently.
Nice, nice.
I feel that I'm someone who I receive a lot of ideas, and I know friends too who receive a lot of ideas all the time, right? And clients as well. And oftentimes we don't really do anything with them, even though they are divine. They're like little nuggets, little gems, divine gems dropped into us that are, it's the clues for the next step in our evolution. So I think so many people feel like I need to wait
Yeah.
for this big
Perfect
moment.
time.
Yes, yes, and you don't have to wait for the perfect time. I was waiting for
Ain't
the
no
perfect
such thing.
there's no, I was waiting for the perfect time. I had the idea of wanting to do some type of coaching for 3 years prior to starting. That was when the other window was open, 3 years before that, that I didn't jump into it, and I wasn't really doing anything with it except just writing all my notes, had the full notebook, the notes, the digital notes filled. But doing the notes and the reading and the learning, it's only going to take you so far, right? So when we're kind of thinking about when is the best time for people to act, it's honestly now. Now is the best time to act, but it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It's like if you know you want to start a business, if you know you want to write a book, if you know you want to create the podcast, if you know you even just want to start a health journey, what is the tiniest step that you could take and give yourself like 10 minutes a day in making those steps for yourself? It doesn't have to be huge, but there's something about rebalancing and recreating this relationship with self around I can trust that I'm going to show up for me. I can trust that when I have an idea, I'm going to execute that idea. And I think a lot of people do not, they have a fractured relationship with that self trust in that way. So even just doing the tiny 10 minutes a day, giving yourself 1 hour block a week, even however it looks like for your schedule, it makes a big difference in
Absolutely.
that identity.
It does. I agree with that. And we get caught up in the overwhelming. And that's when like the imposter syndrome kicks in. That's when the self doubt, because we want to do all these big grand things when it comes to, starting the business or scaling the business. And I'm glad that you said that. It's okay for you to take the small steps at a time. It's okay for you to take 10, 15 minutes out of your day and think about these things. Definitely make sure that you are writing these things down. When it comes to, the breath work and visioning, because you kind of mess with both of those, right? So I want to know, and I'd love for you to share because I know the audience definitely wants to know. They're always looking for strategies and tips to help them stay balanced, right? What can us as women business owners in whatever phase that we're in, how can these things help?
Yes, I love this question because I feel like the breathwork and visioning are so powerful and so simple, but also so feminine and playful too. And I think sometimes business can often feel very like masculine and you have to do all these things and you're just kind of in a box. Yeah. And that could be daunting because, there are times when you have to have your systems and your structures. Those things are important, but I don't believe people understand how equally important the flowy side of things are. So even with the breathing, it's finding ways to incorporate 5 minutes in your day, starting your day off with some simple breathing, a simple, where's my journal here? A simple journaling routine for yourself. I have a visioning journal in particular. This is only for visioning. And I actually wrote here in the beginning, it says, can't see it too well, but may all your dreams, visions, and desires come true. And the only thing that goes in here are future visions where I write them in as if they are presently happening. So it's not, I will, or I want to, or I hope. No, it is, today is XYZ date 2026. And I can't wait to tell you what happened. Yo, this amazing, incredible thing happened to me. I had this sold out program. Everybody is coming to me. I'm such a magnetic energy, right? And the brain doesn't actually know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. The brain does not know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And we're currently manifesting things all the time. What we see around us is a result of our thoughts and our behaviors and our actions. But when you're visioning and able to actually write this down, you're able to also create your vision boards and put it in a way that you can see visually too. Maybe you send an audio to yourself. I like to do voice notes to myself, the voice memo, app on the phone, talking to myself as my future self, talking to this current version of me, and basically saying the same things in the journal. Yo, this happened. I feel incredible. I feel amazing. It all finally worked out. That helps you to kind of collapse the timelines for your reality to actually be manifesting here in the present. First is the opposite of just thing is hard, I don't see the money, I don't know what's happening, where is the aligned relationship, everything sucks. Then that is what is presently going to continue happening because that is what you keep projecting and calling it.
You better say it. That's what
That's it.
people don't get. Like, you have control. You know what I'm saying? Like, wherever you're at in your journey, spiritually as well, you have the power to shift things. You have
Yes.
the power to could put that into perspective. Even when you're uncertain, you definitely still have the power to make sure you do that. I want to touch on the breathing for a second. I'd love for you to share, like, what happens with our bodies when we do that intentional breathing.
Yes, great question. So, when we are breathing, it helps us to get into a different brainwave state in our mind. So, when you breathe for an extended period of time, you can enter the theta brainwave state, just to get a little sciencey on y'all, enter the theta brainwave state. And then this helps you to really tap into the subconscious and then be more open for you to do some of that active rewiring. So, that's really like the high level when you're going all the way to that point and you're breathing for, let's say, like, if at least 15 minutes gets you into that state, right? That's why doing one-on-one breathwork sessions with facilitators like me, with other facilitators you might meet, group sessions are very good for that. But even the 5 minutes of breathing a day still helps to calm the mind down, to calm the nervous system down, and just be able to help to train the body. The nervous system, it's like it's elastic. It's like a rubber band, but oftentimes it's being stretched and stretched to the point of breaking. So doing things like regular breath work, regular meditation helps it to stretch more easily and be more elastic so that when you have situations that come up, you're able to be more resilient. You're able to see the mind doing its little monkey mind dance, running all around, and you could observe the mind is doing the mind thing. I don't need to focus on that right now. Let me just hand on the heart, hand on the belly. Let me just inhale and release and know that I'm safe here in my body. I'm safe in this space. Everything is working out for me. Maybe say a little mantra for yourself. It doesn't have to be anything that is so huge or dramatic. There are ways that you can go much more deeply into it, and there are ways that you just take your 5 minutes to get yourself centered anytime you need it.
Yeah.
So
I
grateful.
think that for me, because I actually do, like, I do practice that. I definitely do like the power of four, 4, 4, 6, 8, four,
Yeah.
8, 6, 4. Like, I will vary, you know what I'm saying? I will definitely vary my breathing mechanisms. And I definitely meditate every day. But I think people need to understand that these are things that need to be a part of. Like when people go to the gym, right? That's an everyday practice for them. These things, when it comes to like our mental well-being as well, all need to be incorporated into your day-to-day habits. As a growing entrepreneur, you do have to put practices in place to keep you grounded. I know, like for me, if I'm about to record a podcast, I'll give myself a couple seconds to like take that deep breath and, get on. When I get off, I'll take that deep breath. It's like, oh, that was a great session. When I'm actually going into a meeting, when I'm speaking to someone about a potential speaking engagement, there are so many different areas when I'm actually about to talk to a client. I have exercises and, tools and tips to help me keep myself grounded, during those maybe high stressful moments. Cause we know entrepreneurship has a little bit of stress. Whether I like to say I'm purpose driven in my work or not, I know that I still have some stressful moments that I'll be like, oh my God, what do I do with this? I'm human. So I think that being able to give yourself some strategies that's going to help you day to day. I'm in my car, I'll be in my mirror like, oh yes, okay, girl, you killed that today, you rocked that. Like that, all of those little things are all a part of my positive self-talk to me, but also keeping myself balanced and grounded with understanding that. So I love that you actually help people with that. Can you walk us through like a client you may have had, maybe an entrepreneur that like came to you and was like, "Oh my God, I'm just so off. Please help me," type scenario.
Yeah, great question. Okay, so I had a client who she was going through a job transition, but also wanting to get into entrepreneurship. Seems like that's always often an entry point for folks, right? They don't
Always about
what's
about
happening,
always.
right? Exactly. And there's the option for more, but she had a lot of fear. She had a lot of fear around is this the right step to do? Basically, the underlying stuff is, am I good enough to be able to take this next step for myself, right? And so in my coaching process, I have a framework that I use, the RISE framework, where we regulate, we do the breath work, calm the body down, calm the mind down. So I was able to guide her through that. Then we do the I, which is the imagination, getting into the visioning. Let's take some time to visualize where it is you actually want to go, but in a way that is, it doesn't have to be logical.
Right, right.
Logical. Miracles happen every day. Big things happen every day. So we help to, after you're calm, ground you in the vision. And then I moved her into, let's do the mindset exercises to shift you from all these fear based thoughts and work through and understand what is actually real about these thoughts. What is this rooted in? Is this coming from childhood things? Is this, are you fearful to move because you haven't seen anybody in your life actually be able to take these actions? But where have you actually seen yourself successfully make big leaps, big moves for yourself, right? So helping to identify that and shift that. And then E is the embodiment of it, which is let's take the small, tiny micro steps again to make it happen. And so working with her over a period of time, she was able to get really clear on her vision of where she wanted to go. She was able to figure out her idea of what it is she was creating and begin launching, right? Because you begin to get yourself calm and start moving. And then the identity shifts along the way with that process. You go from the, I can't do it, I'm scared, I'm stuck, and this is what people say in their mind, right? And I always fail, I never finish what I start. And then you begin to shift your identity into the person that what I set my mind to, I can do. I can achieve anything I set my mind to. Good things are always coming for me. They both exist, but it's which one are you choosing? What steps are you taking to get to this identity on the other side? And it's
That
possible.
it's anything is possible, y'all.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible. I love that breakdown because it is. You've got 2 sides. Which
Yeah.
side are you gonna choose? Are you gonna choose the side of self-doubt, negative influence, and overwhelm all the time? Or are you gonna get uncomfortable? Because getting out of that is gonna require you getting uncomfortable. So if
Yes.
you're stepping into the entrepreneur journey, if you're just doing it as a side hustle, you're looking to make it full time, Or if you're just wanting to keep it as a side hustle, I know there are women entrepreneurs who choose to still stay in corporate America. Don't ever feel like anyone needs to pressure you into going into full-time entrepreneurship if that's not what you're destined to do. I love your framework, the RISE framework. I think that that is super dope because it is that step by step. A lot of times we as women feel like that we have control over everything, we can handle it. So having that structure is really what helps us gain that clarity as well. I absolutely love that. For the woman, because I know that, and I've had conversations with women that, may be a little skeptical and, feel like that, oh, that's not going to work for me, things like that. Let's give them some exercise raw and uncut right now. What you think about that?
I like it. Let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go ahead and take the wheel, baby.
All right. Beautiful. So, for everyone who's listening right now, we're going to do some breathing, some light breathing exercise, a very simple technique that you can use in your morning, in your evening, or anytime during your day where you're stressed and you need a reset. As you're listening here, hopefully you're not driving in the moment. You can close your eyes or bring your gaze gently down to the ground and just start to breathe in and out through your nose. We'll be here for 3 minutes. You can allow yourself to begin to get nice and relaxed. And just observe the mind for a moment. Just see what thoughts the mind may be taking you to. No attachment to any of the thoughts, just watching them. And we'll begin with 3 grounding breaths here. Taking a big inhale through your nose, fill up that belly with air, and exhale out of the mouth, making some sound. Beautiful. I'm going to do this 2 more times. Inhale, big breath. Exhale, big sigh, let it out. This time, if you have space and if you're comfortable, we're going to lift our arms on the inhale. Arms up in the air, hold it at the top. And exhale, shaking the arms down, let it out. Beautiful. And just sitting here in stillness for a moment and just letting yourself sit here in stillness for a few more seconds. Witnessing the mind once again. Maybe it's a bit calmer. Maybe you're feeling a softening in your body, in your energy, knowing that you have all that you need to continue through the rest of this day with ease and grace as the powerful person that you are. And when you're ready to return to the space, you can just start to gently move your shoulders, give some movement back into the body, and slowly open your eyes when you are ready. Welcome back.
Hey, hey, mm, hey, I'll tell you right now, y'all. If y'all can't even tell, I'm talking totally calmer. Like those little things matter so much when it comes to your peace of mind, your mental well-being, but also your success because you cannot keep letting all of that stuff build up and just letting that tension sit on those shoulders and letting that breath just be deep and dark and heavy. These are practices that you can incorporate into your day-to-day activities. Whether you don't believe it works, whether you don't wanna do a full 5 minutes, there are things look, my voice cracking, y'all hear that? That's how calm I am, y'all.
I feel it too.
I do, and I really appreciate you sharing that here on The Woman's Hustle because even though it's The Woman's Hustle, we also gotta take a step back and also make sure that we are staying in alignment and attunement with what we're supposed to be doing. You have 2026 visions mapped out for yourself already.
Yes, I do. I'm in the process of launching and creating a group coaching program specifically for women who are ready for that identity shift, ready to move out of that fear state, move into a more aligned state, and really build that belief in self that they can create this life of their dreams. So that is going to be coming in April. So anyone who wants to stay in contact around that and get on the wait list, I know that we will have the information here within the podcast for you to be able to do that.
Yes, and make sure, guys, the show notes will actually have her details for you to be able to connect with her. You know, one thing about here at the Woman's Hustle, baby, we all gonna make sure that we are helping support and elevate each other. One final thing before we get out of here, to the woman who is maybe struggling to pursue breath work, what is a quick tip, maybe first step that she could do right now to start today?
All she needs to do, the most tiny thing you can do is ground yourself in the moment, even as you're listening to this. Maybe you participated in that 3-minute breath, maybe you didn't, but just adding 3 breaths into your day. Doesn't need to be a full routine, but 3 inhales in through the nose, out through the mouth, just like we did, in and out 3 times, and that's it. That's simple and not stressful, just to help you reset.
Know where we can find you at everywhere, socials, website, all that good stuff.
Yes, on Instagram. So my business is Essence of Freedom. So on Instagram, I am at underscore Essence of Freedom. And my website is www.essenceoffree.com. You type my name, copy it from the show notes, then you will find me with ease.
All right, sis. Thank you so much for coming in, giving us a lesson in breath and visioning and all of those things. Listen, you guys, we all have the capability to empower the best version of ourselves, whether it is for the business that you're visualizing and ready to get started, whether you are in a business right now and ready to scale, whether you need to shift, make adjustments, do whatever it is you got to do. Don't be afraid to make changes. That's what growth is all about. And that's also what entrepreneurship is all about. Sometimes what you visioned in 2022 may not be the same vision as you continue to build and grow. So be okay with making those adjustments, but also don't hesitate to reach out to any one of us for support in making sure that that happens for you guys. All right. Before we get out of here, make sure you have subscribed to the Upgraded Mindsets Media channel on YouTube. And make sure you are following your girl on your favorite podcast streaming platform. I appreciate you being here, sis. Thank you so much for all of your expertise. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a great rest of your day. Y'all stay empowered, baby. Talk to you soon.
Hey.